This is Money, Motivation, and Mike, and I am your host, Michael Wainwright. In charge of the show is Jason Wright. And hello to you, world. This is the show that can and will change your life. Jason, 254,708 is our number as we roll into December the 1st here in 2025. Way ahead of schedule.
Oh yeah.
On our goal. Set goals, they will come true. The motivational part of our business. Right here on our show.
Yeah, we're a whole month ahead.
We're a whole month ahead.
Yeah.
We're just making it that much more difficult to achieve a goal in 2026, but we're going to do it. Hey, this is interesting. And we know that a big problem in the United States, worldwide, is homeless.
Yeah.
And the homelessness that goes on throughout the country. And did you know to this date, in 2025, the only city in the United States of America that has not went up on homelessness, matter of fact, they've went down, is the city of Dallas.
I did not know that.
And one of the longtime sports talk show hosts, and he's definitely a sports personality, Norm Hinchcus. He's a big driving force in his retirement days behind doing something with homeless. And just like this month, this is the reason I had been informed of this and heard about it, is like he goes out and he gets car dealerships to donate cars, and then they have a raffle. Like this month, they're giving away 3 cars. And I don't know much about the raffle ticket. And frankly, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to see if I can get a hold of Norm Hinchcus and see if he'll come on our show and talk more about that. But today, I'm very interested in the personal income in the United States, because obviously your income also affects poverty and homeless. And I was intrigued by this because our Bureau of Labor Statistics have just came out for the year 2022. That's how far behind we are in putting these stats together. Now, that's the breakdown when it comes to race, color, religion, and all that type of stuff, where they have put out the first quarter of 2024, but still, I mean, that's coming on almost 2 years behind.
Yeah.
But they just gave you the big median number. And a lot of people don't know what personal income is, but personal income is the individual's total earnings of wages. Now that's before taxes. Mm-hmm. Your investment income, your interest, other sources. Maybe you have a rent house. Maybe you have an oil well, things along those lines. Maybe you don't have any of that stuff. Maybe you're out mowing yards and that's where your income comes from. But the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported a weekly minimum personal income for full-time workers in the United States in the first quarter of 2024. At $1,139, which is $59,228 a year. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, that was for the year 2024. In 2022, that earnings was $47,960. So it's went up $12,000, Jason, in the last 2 years. From 22 to 24, it's went up $12,000. Now, most people would not tell you that they have had that significant of a raise, because that is close to 20%. That's over 20%, closer to 25%. But that is the median. Now, what people also don't realize is that we have four people making $1 a year. And then you have one guy making $50 a year. So now you got $54 being made between the 5 of those people. And that median is now a little over 10. But you got 4 people of those 5 only making $1.
Yeah. So
you got to be careful with the median, that it's the total gross amount of monies that are coming into that particular survey, and then dividing the people into that number, where we always have said the rich get richer. And some of these stats that I'm fixing to throw out here to you kind of show that. So the current population survey of 2022 in the U.S. population, this is people over the age of 15. All right? Because you can work at 15. Can't drive a car. But people over the age of 15. 271,500 people over the age of 15. All right? And I think there's about 350 million Americans right now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another 75 million, another 80 million below 15. Our students, babies, infants, etc. Okay? Of the 271,000, of the 271 million, 239 million, 88.7% had an income over $1. So they're in this survey. Goes back to what I was talking about. All right? Now, here's your reference point. And this is also a big topic of discussion. The U.S. minimum wage has not changed since 2009. It's still $7.25 on the federal level. Now, there are lots of states, and we've covered that on this show before. There's lots of states that have implemented higher wage earnings, California, New York, etc., where there's only 4 states, I believe, less than 5, we'll call it, that still only identify the federal minimum wage. Now, $7.25 doesn't seem like much, right? It's roughly $15,000 a year on a 40-hour work week. The minimum wage currently is still approximately 25% over the official U.S. government designated poverty level. 25%. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That $7.25 is 25% more than what the U.S. designated poverty level is. All right? Back on this homeless stuff. I would not want to be trying to live off $7.25 an hour. Now, there's also this side of the story. A job in the state of Texas, and we'll just call it, I don't want to underestimate anybody's job, but let's just say that all you did was answer the phone at a local office. And that job paid $9 an hour in Texas.
Okay.
And all you did in Los Angeles, California was answer the phone. But that job pays $19 an hour. Is it worth $10 more an hour 1,000 miles to the west than it is in the central United States? This is where the business owners get excited with Congress. This is also where the labor unions get excited with Congress. Now, if you viewers and listeners of our show are listening right now and thinking about how $7.25 won't get you very far, you got to remember. And now let's take that to the grocery store, the cash register. Okay. They're paying the cash register first day, $7.25 an hour. And you just think that's preposterous. They ought to at least be making twice that. All right. So next week when you come into the store, they're going to be making $14.50 an hour because that's just ridiculous making $7.25. Mm-hmm. Now, what you got to remember, what are you going to do when you get to the checkout line and your bill has went up that much? You paying that much more for your Cokes and your Dr. Peppers and your groceries, your lettuce, your frozen foods, whatever it is that you go in there and you buy. Are you going to be okay with that?
Of course not.
Of course not. So if you want these type of things to change, you got to be ready for change too. Or you have to bring more value to the marketplace than what you're bringing right now. So, see, there we go back to the same thing. And this goes back to social programs, in my opinion, that our liberal friends so overgrossly promote in Congress. And that is the government going to take care of me? or am I going to take care of me? If the government's going to take care of me, then you want minimum wage to go up. You want it to be as high as you possibly can get it because you don't have to do any more for more money. If you're interested in investing in yourself and personal growth, you're okay with whatever minimum wage is. You don't care. Like the people that work in my organization, all of them make more than minimum wage because they bring more value than what a minimum wage job does. I know what minimum wage is because of the profession I'm in, but that never dawns on me when they walk in the door. Can I get by with paying them minimum wage? When they walk in the door, I want to know the value that they can bring to your business. And that's going to determine the amount of money that they make. And that's where your median comes in. Most people don't want to do that. They want to clock in at 9:01. They want to leave at 4:59. And why aren't you doing this for me? And that's 80% of us. So when you're at the cash register and your groceries are going up, you got to take into account that the person that's checking you out is making more money. Are you okay with that? Okay. When you go to the job on Monday morning and they're only paying you $9 an hour and you're hacked off about it, are you bringing more value? You got to be doing two things. You got to be lobbying your Congress to pass more social programs, or you got to be working on yourself to bring more value to the marketplace, which allows you to make more money. And then here are the stats that support that. It's going back to 2022, Jason. 100% of the people, this 239,100,000 people that collected a paycheck in the year 2022 of some sort, at least $1.
Right.
So we'll go with 100% of those people. What percentage of those people do you think, Jason, made less than $25,000?
It'd be just a guess, but 20%?
32.33. Virtually a third.
Yeah.
All right. Made less. They made $24,999 or less. All right. We actually had 13,240 people make less than $2,499. Now, this kind of blows me away. I took 17,500 down to 7,500. All right. That was over 30 million people making between 7,500 and 17,500. That's incredible. Over 30 million people. It's astonishing. We had 11 million people make between 2,500 and 7,500.
Yeah, and that doesn't break down into whether they are married or they're trying to live on their own.
Well, it also goes into the fact of talking about the younger people.
Yeah,
don't have a chance with the interest rates, the cost of a living, the cost of lumber, the cost of buying a house. I mean, there's definitely truth in all that stuff.
Yeah.
So here you go. Here's the percentage that make between 25,000 and 50,000. 49,999. 26.19. 50,000 to 25,000. So less than $50,000 a year of the 239 plus million people that work.
Mm-hmm.
58.52% make less than $50,000 a year. That is 6 out of every 10. Incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm kind of blown away with these numbers. Now, there's two reasons. I'm blown away with the fact that 60% of our population can live on $50,000 or less. I'm also blown away with our fact that 50% of our population is not interested in doing something better than what they've got. That's pretty harsh. But that's what those stats tell me. There's two sides to every story, maybe even more. That's what I'm reading into this right here. Okay. So from 50 to 75,000, 17.51%. So now you can go stick that on top of your 58.52 and you can see you're at 75+% of 75,000 or below. And these numbers are actually getting a little bit smaller. You know, when I'm talking about 58.52 make 50,000 or less. Well, there's another 3.66% that make 52,500 or less. And that gets you up over your 60 percentile just like that, which is pretty crazy. 75,000 to 100,000. 8.92% of the United States, of the working force of the United States, of 239 million. There is only 9 million people in the United States of America that make between 75,000 and 82,500. It's just wild. It's just wild to me. All right. Here's your 100,000 to 200,000. Now, get this. What I have seen here is that 75 to 100,000 is the area of people who are trying to decide if they want to stay where they are or go backwards or better themselves. And here's the reason why. As I say, 75 to 100,000 is 8.92%. From 100,000 to 200,000, Jason, 11.48%. We got more people making 100 to 200,000. Matter of fact, we have 8.23% of the population of workers making between 100 and 150,000, and only 8.92 making between 75 and 100. So there is your threshold of who wants to do better and who is trying to figure out how to get by. And what I mean by get by, that's not getting by on what you make. That's getting by on as little as you possibly can.
Bare bones.
It has nothing to do with what you make. It has everything to do with who you are. I understand that there are situations that are almost unfathomable. But most of us have options and choices, and we refuse. How many people you think make over $250,000 in the United States of America, percentage-wise?
Maybe 3%.
2.19. 2.19. There's 5,238,000 wage earners in the United States of America in the year 2022 that made over $250,000. Incredible.
What percentage of the tax bracket does that put you in?
37.
37%.
Yeah.
And it's even larger for that top 1%, is it?
Absolutely. Well, no, let me restate that. And you're having to say this on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm married to someone who also makes $250, now we're at $500. That puts you into 37%. Okay. If I'm single, then you got to go cut that in half. Now I'm paying 37% on my monies.
Yeah.
Now, if my spouse doesn't work, then we're only made $250,000 as a household. Then that brings me down back into the 20s.
Yeah.
Yes. But then you go factor in your state, like state of Oklahoma, 66%. New York and California, a whole lot more. So you got to put that on there as well. All right. Now, let me blow you away with some of these things here as we start our conclusion of personal income in the United States of America. In 1960, let's go back to 1950, 75 years. This is overall males and females. 1950, male was making $2,570 a year. Female, remember, this is women's lib and the women stay home and all that, $953 a year. Female. All right. Here's your white male in 1950. Now remember, the median was 2570. White male, 2709. White female, $1,060. African American, male 1471. African American female, $474 a year was what they were making. Okay. We'll go to 1990. Now remember, the male was making $2,570 in 1950. So we're 40 years later, $20,239 compared to 2016, which is $38,369. So we have grown at a better rate over the last 35 years than we did the 40 years before on this 75-year example. Today's female, 2016 female making $24,892. In 1990, they're only making $10,000 compared to $953 in 1950. So they have actually went up 150% since 1990. All right. Now, in 1990 is when there became enough Asian Americans. See, like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, they did not do Asian American statistics. They only did whites and blacks. All right. So 1990. Here you go. Overall male, 20,293. The white male, 21,170. The black male, 12,868. The Asian male, 19,394. Okay? So they came in to America pretty close to the top of the hill. Now let's go to 2016, 25 years later, 26 years later. Overall male, 38,869. White male, 40,632. $2,000 above median. Black male, 29,376. You can already see where this is going. Asian male, 2016, 46,590. They came into this country 35 years ago, and they're making more money than the people who founded the country. From a overall whites, African Americans, Asian Americans, they're 150% more wage earners today than they were 35 years ago. Now, why is that? Why is that? And they have grown. Get this. In 1990, the Asian American, like I say, male, 19,394. By in 10 years to the year 2000, 30,833. And then in 2016, 46,590. Are they smarter? Do they work harder? Do they work more hours? Where are we at with all that? Interesting stuff.
Good question.
Yes. Yes. It is interesting stuff. Now, this is as of the 2022, and I will finish with this. The total population, this is males, females, everybody combined. Total population of your full-time workers from 25 to 64. Now, remember, we have stats that start at age 15 of the 239. But this is your full-time workers from 25 to 64. Your overall median was 39,509. The white person, 40,422. Asian, 42,109. African American, 32,021. Hispanic, 27,266. The Asian is making more money than any other race in the United States of America as of right now. And the below 25, go ahead and give this. Their median is 32,140. It's also the reason they can't afford anything. Now, is that my fault, your fault, their fault, government's fault? What is it? $7.25 an hour fault? 25 and below, 32,140. That's actually pretty good money.
Yeah.
When you think about when you were less than 25, were you making 32,000? Nowhere close. I was trying to figure out how to make a $528.32 a month house payment and didn't know how I was going to do it every month. The 32,140, below 25 white, $33,030. Asian, 36,152. African American, 27,101. Hispanic, 23,613. So the young Hispanic is almost making as much as the full-time 25 to 64-year-old Hispanic. Interesting stuff. But right now, the Asian race is making the most money in the United States of America. Incredible stuff, as I believe we always bring. We got to get these 254,708 plus subscribers to go down and make comments on all this stuff. I'd really like to hear what they've got to say. Really, really would. You can contact us at info@mx3.vip. Find all of our content at mx3.vip or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@MX3 Podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notified of all of our new content, which Jason puts out every Monday and Thursday morning. And then go down into the comment section and give us your thoughts there. So for Money, Motivation, and Mike and everyone who's been a part of this show, continue to live your life the right way.